My name is Vanessa, and I spent 4 months solo backpacking when I was 18, and I was so bright, like starry-eyed, like this is gonna be the most amazing experience of my life. And the first 24 hours humbled me more than I ever thought possible. But it made me realize how things going wrong in your life is the most important thing that can happen. So yeah, let's jump into it. So basically, I just need to give you some backstory. I had never traveled by myself before. I had never been on a plane by myself before. I'd never like found a gate by myself. I checked in. I was terrified to drive on the interstate. So I was definitely not well versed prior to doing this. I was just like, I'm young. I don't want to like regret this when I'm older, so I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna buy the tickets. Very ADHD brain. I only had 4 days booked when I landed. I was like, well, what if I meet some really cool people? Then they're like, you should go here. And then I have all these other things booked and then I can't go to that place. So I wanted to keep it more loose. Maybe only having 4 days booked wasn't the smartest decision I could have made, but it taught me things. So basically, I got to the airport literally like 8 hours early. I was so terrified to go through security. I was so terrified to not be able to find my gate, maybe. Got through security in 30 minutes, got to the gate in another 5. So I had a lot of time to reflect beforehand, and I really wanted to make friends. I really didn't want to spend the entire like 4 months basically by myself. And I am an introverted person, right? It does not come naturally to me talking to people. I am definitely very awkward. I don't really know what to say. So, but I was motivated because I wanted friends. And so I get into the line to board, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is my correct flight. Awesome. And I was talking to this girl, and I was like, have you been to London before? And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like so many times. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world. And I was like, oh, amazing. So is it terrifying? And she was like, and I was like, I explained, this is my first trip ever by myself doing anything even remotely close to this, and I'm really scared. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna be fine. London is one of the like most perfect places to do this at because the public transportation is great. Like it's super easy to navigate, like whatever. And I was like, amazing. I was so nervous. The plane lands and I'm like getting off the plane and I am just trying to like pretend I know what to do. So I'm just like following the crowds, like walking through the signs. Another thing I was absolutely terrified about was customs. I was like, they're gonna interrogate me. What if I like say the wrong thing? Like, what if I lose my passport? And she was so sweet. So I'm walking, and she comes up right next to me and she's like, hey, I just want to make sure that you get on your first train. Okay, is it all right if I like walk with you? And I was like, yes, please. That would be amazing. It actually makes me a little emotional because I was so scared. And she knew me for the 5 minutes we were talking before getting onto the plane. And she went out of her way to help me find my first train, answered all the questions I had, helped me get through customs. Speaking of customs, it also took 5 minutes. Literally, if you are a US citizen going into London, literally all you do is you scan your passport, it scans your face, and you're through. So that was a lot of fear for nothing. But anyway, things that I didn't think about. Buses. So bus number 5 will go that way, but it will also go that way. I didn't know that. I literally, when I tell you I was clueless, I did no research beforehand. Again, ADHD brain, zero research. So I got there and I was so excited. I had like 5 hours to kill because I landed at 9 or 10 in the morning, but I couldn't check into my hostel until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go explore. I didn't know what there was to do in London. I had no idea. I just heard that people like traveling there. So I Googled the night before, what should I do in London? And the London Eye was one of the first things that popped up. So I was like, great, I'm gonna go there. It was like maybe an hour away. Made my way over to the London Eye and I was like, literally, oh my gosh, I am a traveling god. It was beautiful. Like there was this guy standing on the dock, like singing. And so I was just taking it all in. And then a couple hours later, I was like, okay, like I need to start heading towards my hostel because my phone's about to die. You might think, Sanessa, shouldn't you have been paying attention to where your phone battery was at? And I answer you, I had a battery pack. So I was like, I'm fine. The thing about that was, I plugged it in and it went down. It went down. So I was like, right. So I was at like 10% when I tried to start charging it, and then it went down to 9, and then it went down to 8. I am an hour away from my hostel. I don't know how I'm gonna get back. I need my phone. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna look at it for directions and put it away. I get on the first bus. This is where I discovered buses go both directions. So I'm getting further away, but I'm trying not to look at my phone, so I didn't notice for a while. I got to an hour and a half away before I realized and promptly hopped off that bus. Then I got like kind of close on the way back once I figured out that buses go both directions. And if you get on a bus on one side of the street, who'da thunk it, you'd go that direction. I get back over to a spot that I was at earlier, and it was like this library, and I need to write down the directions because my phone is at like 2%. I walk in, see these two girls sitting there. I talk to them. Also, people in London are a lot less accepting for random people approaching them than a couple of other places that I've traveled to. And I approach them and they're kind of like, I literally had to take 15 minutes to muster up the courage to go up to them because, again, social anxiety. I don't know how to talk to people. So I was like, hey, it was because survival. I need a place to sleep tonight. And all of a sudden, like, my social anxiety was a lot less than the anxiety of sleeping on the street. And I was like, hey, can you give me the navigation? And they were like, it wants you to take the tube. And I was like, I didn't know what a tube was. Like, I was really confused. I was like, oh no, it's fine. I'm just gonna walk. So I wrote down, they pulled up, they were so nice. I wrote down the directions. I was like, thank you so much. I start walking that way. Master navigator, yet again. I was able to follow them. I made it to my hostel safely. And I get there, I was high as a kite. Not like actually, but like mentally. This is amazing. Like the amount of dopamine I got from it's like little quest. But I was also so exhausted because I was using my brain the entire day. I get there, I have Wi-Fi. So I turn my mobile data off and it's like, are you sure you won't be able to reconnect? I looked past it because I was like, obviously I'll be able to reconnect. I turned the mobile data off. I'm using Wi-Fi for like 15, 20 minutes. Oh, I want to go do something else. I try to turn it back on. Doesn't work. And I was like, right. I try a couple more times. Doesn't work. Then I call my parents on Instagram because I had Wi-Fi, so like I could still access that. And I was like, this is what's going on. Please help. So they called Verizon. It was like this phone tag of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Long story short, it took like 2 hours. Also, there was the nicest German guy. It was a hostel room, so there was like 5, 6 of us in there. I also was really nervous as a girl because I was like, oh, I don't want to be like the only girl. That's going to be terrifying. People traveling, oh my gosh, safest, nicest people. Literally, especially in Europe in the hostels, like nicest people. So I really had nothing to be concerned about because I was the only girl in a hostel room of 5 other guys, and I felt so safe. I felt so comfortable. Like, they were so nice. They invited me to everything. So that's just a little side tangent. But anyway, this German guy, I literally had met 5 minutes prior. I was like, hey, they need to send an email, like, use your phone. This is so weird, I know. And he was like, yeah, sure. Gave me his phone, walks out of the room, does something else for like 45 minutes while I have his phone, a person he met 5 minutes ago. Crazy, but so sweet. Anyway, long story short, after this couple hour endeavor of phone tag, we realized that we have to send my phone back to the US and then they can ship it back out. I don't know if you know this, but when you're traveling, especially in a place that you do not know, even in a place that you do know, your phone is very like integral to that process, right? It's really important to have. How am I going to communicate with people home? I don't have another phone. I don't have like a backup phone that I brought in case this one didn't work. So how am I going to do anything? How am I going to book my other hostels? How am I going to... That was really cool. So I was like, all right, it was day 1 and they invited me to like a pub crawl / like events night thing. And I was like, it's my first day here. I want to make friends. So I decided I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna have a good time, even though that was so overwhelming to find out. Yeah, like I had a great time out with them, by the way. And then the next morning I went, I got a burner phone, and I honestly didn't even end up using that phone because it was so slow. The Google Maps didn't update even like when you were walking. So it was so not useful. But what I would do is I downloaded all the maps when I was at a hostel, and then I would just make sure all of my travel stuff, like my train tickets, like everything was downloaded before I would leave. And then I just used my normal phone. So that was the first 24 hours in Europe, my independence trip. I am going to change the world. I'm going to take the world by storm. It's going to be easy money. I'm going to learn so much. That was my first 24 hours. All of that to say, if I did not go through that, I don't know what kind of trip I would have had. I don't know the type of person that I would have been, because what I didn't realize beforehand is the amount challenges raise your confidence and make you realize how incredibly resilient you are and resourceful you are. Because like, for example, with my social anxiety here, I'm terrified to go through drive-thrus. I don't go through drive-thrus. I make my fiance do that. I'm like, no. But in the moment, I was like, this is about survival. I need a place to sleep tonight. This isn't optional. And it really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I talked to the girl who helped me get on my first train when I was boarding onto the plane. I went out and made a conscious decision to hang out with all of those people that night and have a good time, even though my phone no longer worked on day one of a 4-month trip. I don't think anything would have boosted my confidence in myself and made me realize how much I can rely on myself to figure it out. You don't need to know everything. You just need to have confidence that you're gonna figure it out. So that's something that was one of my favorite stories to tell, because everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and I was fine and I had an amazing time. And I still, at the end of the day, I was like, oh my gosh, I just figured all of that out and I am still standing. I am still okay. I got everywhere I needed to go. I did what I needed to do. And so I think that people get so caught up being like, I'm terrified to do this. I'm terrified to do that. And that's why I think like full immersion experiences like that are invaluable, because I'm in my comfort zone here. I don't go through drive-thrus. I don't get oil changes on my car when I'm supposed to. Sue me. But when I'm traveling, when I'm in that environment, it just shows me, like, just reminds me, just makes me clock, like, oh, I really am so capable. I just don't allow myself to experience that in like day-to-day life because I'm not challenging myself. Like, I'm not intentionally putting myself in situations where I have to grow my confidence, where I have to be resilient, where I have to be resourceful. So anyway, that is my first story on this here YouTube channel. And I don't know what the rest of the videos are gonna look like. And I'm just really excited to start telling these things because I love connecting with people, and these things I learned, I just want to share as just a person, especially to all those like women who are terrified to travel by themselves. It's so cool. It's so cool what you learn. And yes, it's scary, but as soon as you're there, you figure it out. And I just don't think people give themselves a chance to figure it out without like knowing down to the minute detail before they leave. And I'm guilty of that. I'm so guilty of that. Like planning every single minor little detail so nothing can go wrong, so I know exactly what to expect. So that's what I learned on day one with everything going wrong. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to talking with you soon. Goodbye!